What's your emergency?
Welcome back to That Wee Wee Show, a podcast where we watch and discuss episodes of the ABC show 911. I'm Bex.
I'm Alice.
And I'm Ellen.
Thank you to everyone who has listened to our episodes so far, who has shared our posts on social media, and most importantly, who have rated us on Apple and Spotify. We really appreciate it.
So last week on 911, we joined Athena and the 118 as they dealt with the fallout from a massive earthquake that hit the city, but ended on a cliffhanger, or should we say window hanger, with Eddie hanging out of an 11th story window and Hen falling into the basement of a fancy hotel.
This week's episode is episode 3, which is the third part of the surprise 3-parter that opened up season 2, which is ominously titled Help Is Not Coming, and first aired October 1st, 2008, a whole week after the window hanger of 7.1.
Oh man, that would have been a rough week. Just waiting
wouldn't
to find
it?
out.
Especially after the 1 and 2 back to back and then having to wait a week for this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oof.
Alan, do you want to warn everybody what's going to come up in this episode?
Sure. So the official summary says the first responders continue to deal with the fallout of a massive earthquake and its deadly aftershocks. Athena tries to keep the peace as Bobby and team continue to rescue victims from a collapsing high-rise hotel, both under the rubble and above the ground. Maddie's first day on the job involves helping a pregnant couple deliver their babies safely. And our content warnings for this episode, in case you haven't been paying attention, there are more earthquakes. Technically, they're aftershocks, but they're quite devastating on their own. We have a pregnant lady with a baby at threat, and we have an on-screen death of a first responder. It's not one of ours. It's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it's not as sad as it could have been. It's still sad. We have a gun that's being fired. And we have police intimidation, and we have an elevator accident. Okay, so at the end of the last episode, as we said about hanging from the window, we did have, we had Eddie hanging out the window holding on to Ali's hands, the lady who was in the room, and we had Buck holding on to both, the rope that's holding them up, right? Mm-hmm. But at the very beginning of this episode, we don't see the resolve of that. We get none
of that.
Yeah,
we don't see that at all. And I was watching the beginning of it, going, "Why can we not see how they're doing? I'm worried about them." But
it's like the first episode of the season. That episode ends with the earthquake, and then the next episode starts 3 hours before the earthquake even started. So why continue with the previous episode? Just start somewhere new.
Yeah.
The audience isn't really going to care, are they?
I mean,
it's not like they waited a week for this.
Yeah. It's like a week since they saw the last one. It's not.
Yes.
It's not made for a binging audience.
Could you imagine though
the
if they
time.
were this is the new member of the 118, he took 8 hours to put on his t-shirt and then he dies in episode 3 because he falls out a window.
That would be quite sad. But no. Instead, we start off with, there's some footage of the earthquake around the city, which I assume is actual, stock footage of earthquake damage from real life.
Yeah, I don't think they sent a team out to shoot B-roll of an earthquake somewhere out on a soundstage somewhere.
Yeah. So we finally do actually get to see some other damage apart from just this one building.
Just that one
and
hotel.
The school. They've got a lot of, it just says there's 33 buildings collapsed, and callers are urged to refrain from dialing 911 unless there is a real and true emergency. And then we go to the 911 call centre where Maddie is taking a bunch of different calls, and hardly any of them are actual emergencies.
Yep.
We can't spare any units to come and look for your missing cat.
Yeah.
She seems to be doing pretty well until she gets a call about a report of looters and passes that message on to LAPD. But when she reports that the location is on the corner of Wilshire and San Vicente, she suddenly realizes there are two Wilshires and San Vicentes, which I'm guessing would be in different suburbs. And she panics because she doesn't know which one to send LAPD to. Mm-hmm. And that's when Josh, who must have some kind of radar for Maddie freaking out, scoots over. And she frantically tells whoever's on the other line not to hang up, and turns to Josh and just says, "I should not be doing this."
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's clearly panicking deep down, but like trying to keep a level like voice on the phone. I do just want to like mention the missing cat thing. When she's like, maybe put out a can of tuna, and then there's like a beat, and she goes, "Yes, opened." Like the person's just like, "Should I open it?" It's like, yes. They can't open it themselves.
I thought that was the start of the next call, but no, that makes a lot of sense.
No, it followed on from the cat one.
Yeah, it's great. I laugh so hard every time.
Okay.
So Josh reassures Maddie and reminds us, following on from the last episode, of what her job is for today. She is to get the frivolous calls off the line. She's to help the ones that she can, and then keep sending the higher priority calls up the chain. And she does not look at all convinced, but she kind of rallies and takes the next call. And this is a request from an ambulance. Drew is calling, saying that his wife was in active labour when the earthquake hit, and he needs an ambulance. And Maddie slips into nurse mode and says that 32 weeks, which was how far into the pregnancy Drew said his wife was, isn't the danger zone, and she will send somebody as soon as she can. And Drew understandably starts to freak out because, you know, he called 911 and they're basically putting him on hold.
Yeah.
And she explains that, yes, she's very sorry, this is 911, but they're very backed up because of the earthquake. She doesn't have a unit to spare. And when Dean freaks out and says, "But I need help," something in Maddie snaps and she just says, "It's not coming. Help is not coming." And I've watched this episode, I think this is the 6th time that I've watched it. Every single time, as soon as she says help is not coming, I start crying.
Oh, every time Maddie like looks upset at all, I start crying. Like, and I do not cry in TV shows, but there's something about
there's something about Jennifer Love Hewitt, and there's something about just the utter hopelessness of that. It was funny because I'd paused the episode and I was just typing this scene out, and I literally typed the words "help is not coming" and started crying. And then played the episode and she says the line and I cry harder.
Yep.
It's just, my god.
She does like the best crying face. Like, you really feel like you just want to give her a hug every time.
For me, it wasn't until she actually resolves this situation, and the relief that she has is what made me cry after.
Yeah, that was definitely like like I had goosebumps at the
I'm just like not like full on sobbing, but there were, you know, tears rolling down my cheeks as I'm watching this entire scene.
Aww.
Yeah.
So we're all sobbing. Maddie, on the other hand, she slips into professional nurse mode. And she tells Drew, "I'm a trained nurse, I can talk you through this." And then the true nature of the emergency kicks in. Apparently, Drew's wife was in active labour, but then the aftershock hit. She fell and hit her head. She is now unconscious and labour has stalled.
Yeah.
And Maddie's kind of gone like, oh shit.
Yep. But like, start the call with, "Hey, my wife's was in active labour, but was
unconscious, and she's now unconscious."
Yeah. Like,
and we get a shot of his wife Ainsley in the back where she's lying flat on her back on the couch. At which point I like stopped crying long enough to scream at the TV, like, "What is she doing on her fucking back? Get her on her side before she kills the baby."
Literally.
Which, thankfully, is Maddie's next instruction.
Yeah.
Which was, okay, where is she now? Oh, I put her on the couch. Right, well, get her on her side, please. We do not want her flat on her back.
Her left side. I can't remember why, but it's like usually...
It's because your heart is on your left side, so therefore your heart doesn't have to work as hard, I believe.
Oh, there you go. Because I know, like, yeah, in an ideal situation, you want to put them on their left side for recovery. But if they're, like, against a wall or something and they can only do right side, you can do right side unless they're pregnant, in which case you move them and put them on their left side.
Yeah. So while Maddie is reeling off all these instructions, her voice has changed. She's serious, she's calm. And Josh's other little radar has gone up and gone, "Oh, this sounds serious. Maybe I should come over and sticky beak."
He's sort of semi-helpful. After Maddie asks which hospital they were heading for originally, and Josh keeps saying that he points to the map and he's like, "The traffic lights are out here. They won't be able to get through that way."
Yeah, I think he actually plugged himself into Maddie's call, so I don't think that Drew can hear him, but he can hear what's being said to Maddie.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I guess it's a bit
full-on
like
eavesdropping at this point.
It's a bit of a learner-driver situation here, I think. Like,
yeah,
he's listening in just in case he needs to take over.
Yeah, like he's got the steering wheel, he's got the brakes, but his hands aren't on them right now.
That's right. But Maddie works out that maybe if they went some other way, they can get to where there are some first responders. So she tells Drew to get his wife in the car, and she's going to send them to a fire. And at this point, I'm just like, the hell are you talking about, woman?
Yeah.
Like, you're not sending them to a hospital, you're sending them where? So this fire crew is actively fighting this fire, and this car with this pregnant lady turns up, and then they have to deal with that as well.
but I mean, it makes sense because there are EMTs on site. So she's not getting them to a hospital, but she's getting them to trained medical staff who can assess Ainsley and can use the might of the lights and sirens and the big red truck to get through traffic to get her to another hospital.
But at the time, I sort of really felt bad for the fire chief guy who was very accommodating about the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I'm sure we've got a few miracles left or something.
So corny. But can we just mention that, first of all, Captain Martinez is standing on the top of his ladder truck just kind of supervising as his crew puts on a fire.
Yeah.
And one of his firefighters runs up and hands him a cell phone. Then Maddie is calling him on a cell phone, not through the official radio. So without even having met Abby, she's already picked up some of Abby's bad habits.
I'm also confused because all the cell phone towers are down. So
yeah,
how do you get through on a cell phone? Like, did they run out of the budget for radios?
She's got like Sam's level of like Wi-Fi access everywhere or something.
But just for Captain Martinez, she can't reach Buck.
Yeah, can't reach Buck.
Oh, it's a secret. 911 operator powers.
Continuity's gonna get a slap over the wrist for that one.
Continuity was sleeping. It's fine. Anyway, it's like it works out. So they send Drew and his wife to the fire, and the fireys like get them.
Yeah.
So
they're gonna look after them.
Yeah, and so Abby, Maddie thanks the captain, and like Josh gives her some praise, and like Maddie's crying from relief, and I'm crying, and Bex is crying, and Ellen's crying.
Yep, everyone crying.
But then,
it ain't over.
But then she immediately jumps into another call. Like her voice is a bit shaky, but immediately jumps into the other call, and like you remember Abby's line.
Yeah. It was from Creepy Full Moon Creepy as Fuck, when she was trying to tell the detective about the call that she'd listened to, and he was trying to tell her that she was emotionally distraught after listening to the incident on the phone, and she tells him that she takes 200 calls in a 10-hour shift. She cannot afford to get distraught.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And neither can Maddie.
That's it.
She can't. She doesn't have time to take a breath because someone else needs her help.
So then we go to the title card.
Yep. So now it's nighttime. Am I
When
imagining
nighttime?
This? It is nighttime.
How long How long has Eddie been hanging out that window?
I know, like
It took him as long to get in the window as putting on his t-shirt. Okay.
The earthquake happened at like around. It was like before check-in, so it was like around midday, I guess, ish.
Well, a breakfast
check-out.
buffet. Everyone was getting like
everyone was
pancakes
getting
and
breakfast.
stuff,
So it was check out. So let's say
like 10, 11.
Yeah, 10:30, 11 maybe.
Yeah.
And now it's night, so they've been at this for hours. I don't know what time of year this is. Obviously, it's not. I mean, LA doesn't really get cold in winter anyway, so maybe it.
So it was hot in Under Pressure, but they usually try and stick
it was hot,
close to when they're filming. But I guess Under Pressure was like the summer break sort of thing, because they had the break for summer.
Yep.
And then the earthquake, I guess, is catching back up to where we are. So it's like autumn?
Yeah, September-ish.
Ish.
But well, in any case, the sun wouldn't be going down super early.
Yeah,
So-
we'd assume it's not like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last scene we saw of the exterior was Captain Sleazy Pants falling out the window and splattering on the sidewalk, and that was broad daylight. There was no shadows indicating that it was starting to head toward late afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe they just decided that it would be more dramatic to have everything. Maybe they shot it in like one go and it just went into nighttime and they went, okay, we're just going to keep going, it's nighttime. I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, it's very strange that it's now night, because like it pretty much goes from where we left off. Like, Hen's just fallen down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eddie's apparently still hanging out the window.
Let's not worry about that. So yeah, we don't see. Oh, hang on. We've got we got Kat's dad, who is trying to get back inside, and he's like, "My daughter's still in there. What? I like, let me in. I want to go in there myself and find her."
Yeah, no. Not happening.
Yeah.
And everyone's telling him no, but
The incident commander tells him that his family needs him more, and over his shoulder you can see that his teenage son is consoling his mother, doing this guy's job.
Yeah.
Well, this guy is absolutely fixated on his daughter, and every time I watch this, the father just gets creepier and creepier. I mean, I know that he's like the concerned father. He's looking out for his daughter. Any parent would be absolutely besides himself if their daughter was trapped in this situation. But there's just something about this guy that the more he starts freaking out about his daughter, the more I want to put him on a list somewhere.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, he doesn't care about his son. He doesn't care about his wife. His wife doesn't seem to care about his daughter.
they're okay. They're not. They're to safety, you know.
The incident commander's had it up to here with him, and she just walks away muttering, "It's gonna be a long night."
Yeah.
And she asks for an update. And a tech who has been controlling the computer thingy, I don't know what's going on, says that they've got a GPS location on everyone, but the 118 has lost contact with one of their firefighters. And the incident commander says, who? Like, she's intimately acquainted with every single member of the 118 and has a personal, like, this missing firefighter is personal to her when she literally just met them a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, right.
But it is a nice transition, because then the next scene is Bobby and Chim and the other firefighters in the collapsed restaurant calling out for Hen.
Which apparently they've been doing for like 3 hours.
Can I just... I look, I'm just going to be really nitpicky here. This is not how GPS works.
That too.
Later on, they're going to bring up, like, the little computer thingy, and I so want to hear your thoughts about this, because I know you're going to have thoughts about them.
I mean, I'm sure there is technology that can do this.
Really?
But it is not GPS. No, well, the thing is that... Okay, so GPS Do you really want me to explain? Like,
Yes.
okay.
Look, I just spent like 5 minutes going on about dog coat color genetics. Like, I'm ready for the GPS talk.
Okay.
Hang on,
Look,
let's just get up to Bobby and the funny little iPad thing, because I think that's when you're really going to pop off.
well, I think it's the next bit, right? Isn't it?
Well, I just want to mention one thing because it does come back later on in the episode. So Bobby's calling for Hen over the radio, and he specifically calls for Captain Nash for Henrietta Wilson. Do you copy? And there is just radio silence. And then we get a firefighter arriving and telling Bobby that they've found Hen's GPS and hands him a heavy-duty tablet which is showing some kind of GPS display. And go for it, Ellen. Tell me how everything that is on that screen is absolute bullshit.
Okay, so this screen for one thing, the screen they're showing is like a really cool little graphic of like a 3D model of the underground car park or like,
Yeah.
you know, the building. And
Which they obviously would have had time to have like mapped out in the couple of hours that they've been looking for survivors,
I mean, maybe
right?
there already existed some kind of a, I don't know. But then it's got big green letters. It says Captain and Crew. It's like, I just laughed and laughed when I saw this because what? But anyway, the whole point of the GPS comes from a satellite, right? You need to be able to see a clear view of 3 satellites in order to get your position on the ground. That's how it triangulates exactly where you are, because it times how long the signal takes to get to each satellite, and then it can work out where you are on the ground. When you are inside a building, some buildings it works, like inside a house, for example, there's not that much kind of to get in the way of your signal. But when you're in a forest, for example,
parking garage with tons of concrete on top of you.
yeah, like even if you're in like at the middle of the city where there's a lot of tall buildings around, your GPS might start to go a bit haywire because the signal is bouncing off the steel buildings around you. And
Yeah, my Google Maps always struggles when I'm like in the CBD.
Yeah. So in a parking garage underneath rubble, extremely unlikely to get any kind of signal.
Especially specific enough signal to know that she is 3 meters underneath Bobby and Chim's location.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, because apparently we've gone to meters now as well.
Oh, yeah. Chim, like 30 seconds ago, was
meters,
saying,
yeah.
oh, there's a pocket over here that's 4 feet down. And now Bobby's saying, oh, yeah, she's 3 meters down.
They did that just for the Aussies, guys.
I don't know, this whole scene, like, I feel like every episode we're like shitting on everything, but my God,
Honestly, it deserves it. It really does deserve it. But we're not hating the show. This is not a hate watch.
No. I'm still really enjoying this episode, even though
we're out of season 1. We don't hate it anymore. Like, we're playfully, like, we're making fun of Eddie for taking 12 minutes to put on his shirt because it's funny. We're not mad about it.
And we're shitting on the special effects for putting up displays and graphics that have no basis in reality.
yeah,
But we do love you. We still do love you, 911.
we do.
You're just a little bit stupid sometimes.
And absolutely, they would have GPS on their trucks, for example. They may have them on people, but you know, for
them on the trucks,
ground
because
based.
isn't that how Bobby found Buck when he took the fire truck to go fuck the snake girl?
Yeah,
they need
that's
to
exactly.
They need to keep a track of where their people and their assets are. But
it's also so the dispatch knows where they are as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, like, who else? Like, if the 118 is the closest to the next fire and they're not doing anything, they're not going to be like, oh, well, we'll get the 220 to do it because they're on the other side of town.
Yeah.
That's right. And they may not be able to contact them easily because they're busy putting out a fire or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just watch next episode. Bobby's going to inject them all with some kind of chip so that he can track them.
Anyway, so they work out where they think Hen is. And they do say that they think that they can't move things because it's going to bring everything down on their heads.
Yeah.
But they decide to dig through some rubble anyway to try and get in there where they can.
By hand as well. So
By
they're
hand.
like very slowly, but not too slow.
So Chim takes this like tiny piece of rock and very carefully picks it up and very slowly puts it down over here. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna make a lot
But
of difference, Chim.
they're
Good
still
job.
like shouting down the hole. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So while they're doing that, we cut back to Bill and Ben, who are leading Allie down the stairs.
Yeah, so we've missed the whole rescue.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Like,
Like,
just
somehow
gonna
they got back in
hand
the
wave
window.
Yeah.
We're just like, Buck must be fucking exhausted from pulling the two of them back up inside, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to get them out of the building.
His guns have been having a workout.
Eddie's in the lead, Allie's tethered to Buck, and Buck's encouraging Allie, like, down the stairs. Because the stairs are very, like, they're not straight. They're very crooked.
They're sideways, and she's barefoot, and there's lots of rubble on the steps. And she's probably injured from being thrown around in that room a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Plus
it's slow
traumatized from
going.
being out the window.
They get her down about another half a flight, and Allie suddenly stops and asks, "Do you think he'll still be on the sidewalk?"
She's having a bit of a freak out about it.
Buck tells her no, but they're not going out that way anyway. And Eddie, who is an amazing paramedic and he is great in an emergency, needs to learn some bedside manner because he tells them to hustle because they don't want to be in the stairwell when the next aftershock hits. And Allie immediately starts panicking, like, what do you mean the next aftershock? And behind her, you can just see Buck hang his head like, fuck, why'd you have to say that?
Like, Eddie, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? We do get, like, the banter between Allie and Buck's kind of cute. Like, there's that little bit of chemistry happening, and Buck's, like, trying not to jump on it.
Yeah, past Buck may have been flirting a little harder.
Yeah, Buck 2.0 is still trying to be loyal to Abby, which is very interesting when the next part comes up. But Eddie realizes he's fucked up and just decides to leave. He starts heading down the stairs, only to discover that somehow, suddenly, without warning, the stairwell has filled with rubble. I don't know where it's come from. It hasn't come from up there because they were just up there.
Yeah, they were just.
It hasn't
happened?
come sideways. It's just there.
It's just magical rubble.
It's magical rubble that's appeared and is impeding their progress any further down.
I thought maybe the stairs had fallen from where they needed to be, fallen down further. But I guess they could have just like used the rope that they have and got down.
know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. They can't get down that way anymore.
Yeah, so they have to go
Basically,
back up.
They have to go back
They
up.
can't go over it. They can't go under it. They can't go
They can't
through
go
it.
through
They've got
it
to go
even.
back up.
Yeah.
But before they can make a decision, Bobby comes over the radio. He's saying, "Ladder 118, respond. This is Captain Nash. You need a head count." So Eddie responds, "Diaz, Buckley, we're good." And then we get some more of the 118. We have now added Castillo, Jackson, Paulson, Marcus, and Riley to the roster.
I don't know where
Welcome,
Taylor
guys.
went. Taylor has apparently also died in the earthquake because he just didn't respond.
I don't know. Either that or Taylor was not in the building. Maybe his shift has ended and he's fucked off home.
5 o'clock. Bye, guys. See you later.
Interestingly, Chim responds as Chimney.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was seriously questioning whether the writers had even given him a name. Because surely he would, because, like, he said Captain Nash. Surely you would respond with your full government name at this point, but he responds as Chimney.
Yeah.
But let's not worry about that. The most important thing is that Wilson does not check in.
Yeah.
And then we get the Hen, do you copy? This is Captain Nash for Henrietta Wilson, and we've synced up with that earlier scene that we just saw.
Yeah.
And-
So now Eddie and Buck also know that Hen's missing.
Hen's missing. And we get an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
So Allie sort of sees the glances and goes, "Is that a friend of yours?" And Eddie does not give her an answer, just says, "Let's keep moving."
No, he's shutting down. He's in professional mode. We're not going to have emotions. We're just going to get out of here.
Well, like, his son's already, like, he doesn't know what's going on with his son. Now he doesn't know what's going on with Hen. Like, let's just focus on, like, Buck and Allie.
So we go to Hen, who is alive, and she's under some rubble. She kind of gets herself up. She tries to call on the radio, but it's not working. So she calls out to see if anyone else is there, and she finds someone. A guy is pinned under some rubble. I've forgotten his name. Russ.
So towards the end of the last episode, there was a moment where just after they realized that Kat was somewhere down in the parking garage, Hen noticed a guy from the 221 about to dive into the hole. And she sort of specifically mentions, 221, you're far from home. And he says, yeah, well, all hands on deck. And then he jumps down. And then as the aftershock hit, Hen falls in after him.
Right, yeah.
So that's where he's come from. I don't know where the 221 is. I don't know how far he has come. Google did not help me in that respect. But this is Russ. Apparently he came in on his day off to help out. And it's not going well for him.
No, bad move. He reckons he's got a broken pelvis and a flail chest.
Flail chest, which I did look up, and that is where you've got 2 or more ribs broken in 2 or more places.
Ouch. So he's like basically crushed.
Yeah, serious crush injuries.
Managing to breathe still, but he can see the writing on the wall.
Mm-hmm. He says that even I couldn't save myself, and you don't know me, Wilson, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
May as well be cocky if you're going to be, not making it out of here. But Hen doesn't accept defeat. She says, you might be good, but maybe I'm better. And she tries to break into the cars that are around them, because they're in the parking garage now, to see if she can find like a jack or something inside, or tools or whatever inside the cars. But Russ says the words of the episode, help is not coming, and just tells her to get his kid and give him some morphine to help him out.
Yeah, he asks for 1 bolus, which is 1 dose, and then changes his mind and asks for 3.
Yeah.
Hen refuses. She said, I'll give you 1 to make you comfortable.
But then he asks her if she's married, and when she says yes, he says he hopes she makes it back to her husband, and says wife. And Russ says, oh, I had one of those.
I love that response.
She was always worried that I wouldn't make it back home to see her. Figured it would be better if I just stopped coming home altogether. I think maybe she was onto something.
And by this point, Hen has got a syringe full of morphine. She tells Russ, look, you don't know my team. They will 100% come and get us. She turns to give him the morphine, but he's passed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so she just kind of slumps down, looking defeated. Poor Hen.
Yeah. And she only knew him for like 30 seconds, but in that moment he was her patient, and I don't think anybody likes to lose a patient.
No.
Not just patient either, but like colleague. Because he also, like, he was just there doing the job like she was. And that could have quite easily been her.
Not even, like, that was his day off. He's not getting paid to be there.
Yeah.
He did not have to be there, but he was. And it's cost him his life.
Yeah. Go back to, well, we go to the Grant household, where Michael's at home with the kids now, and the kids are sitting at the table watching the news on an iPad. Apparently they don't have power, and they've got the lights on, but they don't have. So hang on, there's power off in some places in the city, but obviously not everywhere. Why are they watching the news on an iPad?
I don't think they don't have power.
Are the lights not on though?
I don't think so.
Okay, I didn't. Maybe he's got some lanterns or something, like,
Maybe it's just strategic lighting from the lighting director.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it's iPad because they can't get the TV going.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And then I was like, hang on, haven't they got power because the lights are on? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to bother pulling up the episode to double check.
No, obviously I wasn't watching quite closely enough. But
But the issue is that they shouldn't be watching their iPad. They should have been in the living room cleaning up the mess.
So yeah, the house is fine. It is structurally okay. It's just they've quite a few their shelves and everything have had their contents tipped off.
Yeah, like there's books everywhere. There's just like random
broken glass and stuff around. Yeah. So Harry, gets a bit angry and says, "Why are you more worried about the house than you are about Mum?" And
I didn't realise up until this point they weren't watching the news for news of the earthquake. They were watching to see if they could see Athena.
Yeah.
To see if they could see on the footage that she was okay.
Yeah, because they still can't get hold of her.
They can't get a hold of her because they don't have the magic cell phone that Maddie has.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so Michael mentions says to Harry that he's cared for Athena long before Harry was even born. And she's working and they need to have faith that she's okay and they'll be happy to see her just when she comes home, just like every other day. And May's like, well, today's not just like any other day. So Michael's like, fine, grab a sweater and the earthquake kits. And Harry's like, oh, are we going to go look for Mum? And he just says, you have 5 seconds, get in the car.
Mm-hmm. And my little brat ass is going like, and what? What's going to happen if we don't get in the car in 5 seconds, huh? What? Or what?
But it works. They grab the earthquake kits. Which, I had a look to see what would be in an earthquake kit, and it's like flashlights and like batteries and water.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it's similar to a
it's a bug out bag,
a bushfire kit.
Yeah. I don't know, because our growing up in the bush, our earthquake kit, our bushfire kit had a change of clothes and then we knew where all the family photos and that sort of stuff were.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's why I was like, what would be in an earthquake kit?
Yeah, it's the same deal, isn't it? Whatever you desperately need to take with you if you're getting out quickly.
Or I guess what you would need to survive if the power went off for an indefinite amount of periods. I'm sure there's easy food supplies and stuff in there.
Yeah, so then we have a 911 call that's not taken by Maddie. And the caller says that he owns a grocery store and he needs someone down there before things get out of control. We can hear a crowd shouting in the background, and the caller yells at them to get back and then shoots a gun. And we are just hearing the audio, so we're like, what the hell is happening?
It obviously panics the dispatcher because 3 units rock up to respond to the call, Athena being one of them. She yells at the crowd that's gathered in front of the store to get their hands up and to back up, to give them room. The crowd parts for her to give her entry into the store, but tell her that they're not the ones shooting. And we see a man who I presume is the owner of the grocery store standing just inside the entrance with a shotgun braced across his body.
So he puts the gun down as Athena approaches, puts his hands up. Athena asks if he's got a permit for it, and he says yes. His license is in the back because he can't expect you people, the cops, to be here all the time.
Mm. So the owner's story was that the crowd that was gathered outside the store was trying to loot him. But Athena's walking through the store and we're sort of following her, and the store looks in remarkably good condition for something that's just been looted. The shelves are still fully stocked, there's nothing on the floor, there's nothing broken, and there's even groceries stacked up on the little conveyor belt that leads up to the register, which Athena notes is not something that looters would usually do.
And not only that, they just had an earthquake, and it's
it's very tidy. So, everything's on the shelves.
Yeah. But the truth of the situation comes out. Athena asks how much he was charging a case of water for, which it was like a 12-pack of bottled water, which he said he was charging $14.99 for, which I still think is an exorbitant price, because I had a quick jump on Target to see how much you could get a 12-pack of water for, and it was nowhere near $15.
Yeah, right? Especially 15 American. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. One of the women from the crowd pushes through the door and says that no, he was actually charging $100 for that case of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this like flashback to like COVID times where people were buying all the toilet paper and then selling it online and stuff.
Yeah. Athena is not impressed, and she asks the owner if he's heard of Penal Code 396, which declares that it is an offence to raise prices more than 10% during a state of emergency. And my little lawyer brain has gone, wait, has a state of emergency been declared? And then the owner says, has a state of emergency been declared? I'm like, yes. Athena says, well, the San Andreas Fault declared one just before lunch. And I've gone, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's definitely not how it works.
Unless the San Andreas Fault is the governor of California in this instance, or the president of the United States, just because it is an emergency does not mean it is actually an official state of emergency. They need to sign a piece of paper and make a declaration.
We do get a timeline, though, because Athena confirms that it was just before lunch.
Just before
first
lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Athena knows what Penal Code 395 is. Like,
does she know?
Does she know all of the penal codes?
Yeah.
She knows the ones that are applicable for each storyline.
So the owner argues that increasing the price stops one or two unscrupulous people from buying out the entire shop, but that's what you just set limits. You just say 1 case of water each.
Yeah.
So Athena gives the guy a choice. She can charge him with price gouging and face a year in jail, which is the real penalty.
Mm-hmm. You can get up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $10,000 if you are found guilty of it. Although if there's no state of emergency actually declared, at this point, if I were the owner, I'd just say, yeah, charge me. I'm going to get off.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Because I haven't... so it's either she can charge him or
she can overlook his ignorance of the law and come up with another arrangement. And I have a lot of problems with this scene.
Yeah, so the other arrangement the owner thinks Athena means is, well, I'll just raise the prices just by 10%. And Athena glares at him and he goes, I won't raise the prices at all. And she goes for her handcuffs. He's like, all right, fine. 50% off the entire store. Which, look, what he did was morally reprehensible, raising the prices. And if he had said, fine, I won't charge $100 for a $15 case of water, I will charge $20 for the case of water, it's still pretty morally reprehensible. But I don't think Athena has the right to intimidate him into dropping prices by 50% because she's basically, he's losing.
Yeah, he's losing.
Yeah,
money
he's
out
still
of it,
a business.
It's it's another one of these situations where Athena is standing up. She's a woman of the people. She's standing up for the small people, the oppressed people. But really, she's just overstepping her boundaries completely.
Not only that, but it's it felt a lot like propaganda, where they're like, look how good the cops are, and it's like,
yeah, no, is she really? Really?
Yeah, not okay. And yeah, this is the first. It's definitely happened a couple times, but this is the first one that really made me go, yeah, this is clearly just to, get viewers on the side of the cops. But when you really think about it, it's not okay at all.
No.
I felt sorry for the poor guy, even though he was doing the wrong thing in the first place. In the end,
Yeah.
he came off pretty bad out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, not okay.
And see, the thing that really pushes that this is like Athena doing the right thing and the owner doing the wrong thing is that when they allow the crowd back in, they all start shopping normally. Which in reality would not have happened.
Oh,
Athena
100%
would have opened the doors and they would have rushed in and they would have started looting.
I mean, one of
Because-
them does, the one that like yelled about the case of water, she does like walk in and grab the case and like yell, "I'm taking this," in the background, which I did notice, and I was like, oh.
Right.
And if anybody disagrees that oh no, people wouldn't have started looting, may I remind you what the supermarkets looked like during COVID?
Yeah. Like
When lockdowns were threatened and people went absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
I've worked retail, and like even just a couple months ago, we had some really big storms and the power went out. And like we had to lock the doors. People were so mad and we're like, we literally cannot serve you. We have no power. We have nothing. And they're just like, oh, what if I pay cash? And I'm like, we don't have any power. We can't open the tills. Like, we can't even do anything with stock. And they got so mad. And I'm just like, I can't do anything. We have no power.
Yeah, people in extraordinary situations act irrationally.
Especially in a mob.
Yes.
And we've all seen the Black Friday stampedes as well.
Mm-hmm. So Athena's feeling pretty good about herself as she leaves the store.
Yeah, she also pretty much steals a thing of chocolate.
She gives him a couple of coins, and
Yeah,
if you
it's like
consider that
50
everything's
cents.
yeah, but if everything's 50% off, then she's paying. But
Yeah, but it's only 50% off because she literally
intimidated the guy into. If I were that guy, I would be suing the LAPD for police intimidation and claiming back the other 50% of the profits that he lost for that night.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope he lawyered up. Athena's going to be writing a desk again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so all sorts of things wrong with that scene. So we go to dispatch, and Maddie finds the LAFD liaison to find out if there's any news about the Hollywood Palm Hotel. So this is the guy who is a member of the LAFD, but his job pretty much is to be in dispatch and help out there.
I think he acts as a liaison between the LAFD and the general public.
So the LAFD liaison, Maddie asks if there's any news about the Hollywood Palm Hotel, and he does mention that there are people missing.
Yeah.
And so Maddie immediately freaks and says that her brother's there and asks if anyone missing is from the 118, which he's not sure, but he promises to come find her if he finds anything out.
Which I actually think at this point he does know that Hen is missing, or that there is someone from the 118 missing,
Like,
but he's
surely
realised that
he
he's
gets-
fucked up.
Yeah,
And
like
he's-
surely he gets the radio.
She specifically mentioned the 118. I do know that someone from the 118 is missing. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, I'm sure the 118 don't have their own, like, channel, so it's probably been broadcast all around that they're trying to find Hen.
Oh, yeah. So he walks off and Maddie pulls out her phone, which apparently is not her magical cell phone. And she's texting Buck. And we get they use that technique where the text bubbles appear on the screen so we can see what she's texting.
Yeah.
Which is just, please text me as soon as you get this. I just need to know that he's okay. And we then cut to him and Eddie, and they are okay. They're just very slowly making their way back up the staircase that they've just worked their way down. They get to, I don't know what level they get to, but they get to a corridor that looks relatively clear. And Eddie tells them that there is an exit on the north stairwell of that floor. And when Allie wonders why they just can't go out a window, Buck says, "Don't worry, Abby, we got you." Like,
That's right.
interesting slip of the tongue there.
Yeah, especially since they were just flirting.
And she says, "No, I'm Allie." And he says, what's that? And she goes, no, you call me Abby, but my name's Ali. And he goes, oh, okay. It's complicated. But he does actually say that she's in Europe and he's glad she's not there so that he doesn't have to worry about her after the earthquake.
Eddie's up the other end of the corridor trying to haul debris away from the exit.
Yeah, he's trying to work while
Yeah. While Buck's flirting, and while Ali has found the housekeeping card and has decided that it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so she's gonna drink.
Yeah, well, it's dark, so I'm guessing it's 5 o'clock there.
Yeah, she does mention that it's after 5.
All right.
But she mentions to Buck that having someone to worry about would be nice because she's perpetually single, because all she does is work. And like, babe,
really?
same.
Now is not the time though, honey.
So yeah, Eddie's still just working. But then we hear a man's voice calling for help. So Eddie smashes open a door and he and Buck help each other into the room and find Batari. And he's lying
got
on
a
the
little
floor.
He's got a little gold name tag, so I'm assuming it's housekeeping.
Yeah, especially with the cart, like
Outside that room.
outside, yeah.
So Buck and Eddie are examining him. They roll him onto his side just to, I guess, check him out, and he screams and then confesses that he's soiled himself, and I've gone, oh shit. Eddie tells him not to worry about it as he's sort of pulling off one of the guy's shoes and then socks and sort of feeling at his ankle, and then I'm going, oh, that's really not good.
I mean, if he's been lying there for like 6 hours or however long it's been, of course he soiled himself if he's been lying there.
Yeah,
for
but that's
that time.
not why he soiled
Yeah,
himself.
yeah,
though.
I know, but it's like, you know, it's not a surprise.
Yeah, so Eddie sticks with Batari. Buck does this cool, like, uses the wooden floor to slide his way down to the bed. He's searching for something. Eddie starts to add more context clues for the audience by grabbing one of Batari's toes and asking if the man can wiggle it, which he obviously can't. So then he's sort of like, just wait here a second. It's like, not like the guy can go anywhere anyway. Slides down to join Buck, and for those of people who in the audience had fallen asleep, they kind of explain what's going on. Buck starts listing the symptoms. So we've got a numbness of his legs, loss of bladder control. Eddie says, yeah, spinal injury.
Yeah, like it's such a serious, like, sad sort of thing because it's like, oof, they've just found this guy who's like may never walk again. But they're just sliding around the hotel floor.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, wee.
Yeah, it's like they're sliding their way down there. How are they planning to get back up to the door again?
I don't know. But yeah, they're literally just
That's
like,
a good point.
like
It was
they're
a long
down by
slide.
the window now. Like, I have no idea what they're thinking. But yeah, it just cracked me up because they're just like, wee.
Yeah.
Wee. Yeah, so they're like, okay, we have to get them out. Have to get him out, but Buck's like, well, on what? We don't have a backboard, and like with a spinal injury, every millimeter counts. And Ali's just like hanging at the door, and she's like, what about this? And there's just an ironing board standing.
Here's an
at the
ironing
door.
board I prepared earlier,
Yeah.
which somehow has managed to stay perfectly upright through the entire thing of the earthquake and 17 aftershocks.
Yeah.
Eddie agrees, yes, the ironing board could work, but then they've got the problem of once they get him on the ironing board, how are they going to get him out? Because they can't carry him down the stairwell. So then Buck gets a brilliant idea. Maybe we don't use the stairwell, and we cut to as the camera are inside an elevator shaft, and we see the doors above us open, and Eddie and Ali kind of stick their heads out as they examine the inside of the shaft. I guess they're looking to see what the situation is, where the elevator car is, whether there's any debris.
But
Whether
oh my
it's a
god,
feasible option.
why are they letting Ali look down? Like, she's a civilian. Keep her in the hallway. Jesus Christ. She just had a drink. She's a civilian.
She's one of them now.
She's injured. Like, don't let her near an elevator shaft. She'll fall down. The whole time I'm just like, oh my god, get away from the shaft. Eddie rolls over and has a look up, and you can see that the car's above them.
It's good.
So
So
it's-
the way down is not blocked, but they
But for
have
some
a
reason
like
it's survived.
2,500, 3,000 pound metal box hanging above them.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
it's survived all the aftershocks. So like
What could
we don't know how
possibly go
stable
wrong?
it is. Yeah.
It's so Chekhov's elevator though. Oh look, there's the elevator car. We've shown it on camera. That's possibly never going to show back up again, is
Yeah, I'm
it?
sure it
Of course
Yeah.
not.
But Buck, ever
I
the
d-
optimist, like joins them, looks down, looks up, and goes,
Looks up.
"I like our chances," and then just vanishes. It's like, yep, good. At least Buck's optimistic. Oh God.
So
But yeah, the whole time I'm just like, Allie, no, Allie, what are you doing?
before we find out how that turns out, we go back to Hen, who is moving. He was trying to get through some debris to get out of there, but she sort of gives up, and then she pulls out her phone and calls or leaves a message. Like, she obviously can't call because it's not getting through, but she leaves a voice
She
message
pulls up
somehow.
a voice recorder.
Yeah, and
I think she's recording a voice memo.
well, she records a very heart-wrenching message for Karen and says that, you know, she loves her and she doesn't think she's going to make it, and it's desperately sad. She's having a bit of a freak out, but she fought. She wants Karen to know that she fought to get out of here and to come home to her.
The line that killed me was, "I wish I could promise that I was coming home tonight, but after you took me back, I promised I would never lie to you again." I've gone, if there was ever a situation in which lying to your wife is acceptable, I think it's this one. Yeah.
Anyway, she puts her sort of gear back on and starts digging again, but she manages to get through. I guess she's in between cars. It's a bit hard to tell. Like, it was a bit dark and kind of it's only lit by like a torch that she has on her gear, so it's a bit hard to work out.
It's not Game of Thrones dark, but it's pretty dark.
Yeah. But then she hears like a dog barking, and then the little scruffy dog that the other lady had, Paisley, comes running out, and she looks at the name tag and says, "Paisley, okay, show me the way out, Paisley." And I'm like, no, he's a little dog stuck in a building car park. Like, I don't know if Paisley knows the way out. But anyway.
But it's a dog on a TV show. Of course it's going to know how to get out.
It's not
Yeah, it's
Lassie.
just been sitting down there waiting for Hen.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Paisley runs back through the hole, and Hen crawls through after her.
We're still not going to find out what's going on with the Bobbsey twins, though. We've got to check in with Michael and the kids. And he has taken them, I guess, to their church. I'm not entirely sure where they are, but it's a shelter that is being run by their church.
Yeah.
And Harry kind of realizes that he's been tricked, because he's looking around and going, "Mum's not here." And Michael says, "Yeah, I know she's not here." And when Harry asks them, "Why are we here?" he says, "We're here to be of service." So they get put to work by, I guess, one of the church ladies, Miss Lorna. Michael's handing out blankets, May is distributing water. I don't know what Harry's doing, but he's futzing with the earthquake kits, and something falls out of them, so he climbs under the table to retrieve them, and he notices a man sort of sitting with his back propped against a pillar under one of the other tables, just staring at the front door. And he goes over to check if the man is okay.
Yeah, he's not
really
okay.
sad.
He says that Mum said to go to church when things go bad. And so he's going to wait there under the table until she finds me. And Harry just sort of takes it in stride. He says, "Oh, your mum's not going to be able to find you if you're under the table. So why don't we go and sit over there?" And he just leads him out of there. So, and then as he sits down at the table with this man, Miss Lorna says to Michael that they have done a great job raising May and Harry, and Michael says that, oh, no, that's Athena. She did that. And Lorna says, are you worried about her? And then she offers to pray with him. And so they go off together to do that.
Yeah, it turns out that Michael had a slightly ulterior motive in bringing the kids to the shelter. He's trying to distract them from thinking about Athena.
Yeah, because he does, like he mentions that they haven't been able to reach Athena all day. And I don't know why I was crying again, but
Oh, it's
fucking
a
episode.
very tense scene. Like, it's sad in like a they don't know what's happening kind of a way.
Yeah, there's all these
guess.
displaced people and it's sad.
Yeah.
So now we get back to the Hollywood Palm Hotel, where Bill and Ted have our housekeeping guy strapped to the ironing board, and they've got a towel wrapped around his neck as a makeshift brace, and they are lowering him feet first down the elevator shaft. Eddie is rappelling down with him. Buck is up the top feeding the rope down. They get, I don't know how many floors down. Probably another 1 or 2 floors down, and
like a
Eddie's
fair way,
using
right?
his... Yeah, I couldn't tell.
No.
But they find a floor. They pick a floor at random, I guess. And Eddie's using his hands and feet to sort of shove the doors open and orders Buck to get down here. So Buck's obviously not being the anchor this time. He's just feeding the ropes. So Ali grabs hold of him, and I desperately wanted someone to make a hold on spider monkey joke, but unfortunately nobody did. And he starts rappelling down the elevator shaft with Ali clinging to him. And we hear a rumbling, and Batani sort of looks over at Eddie and goes, "Is the building vibrating?" And yes, the building is vibrating.
There's another earthquake. Uh-oh.
Oh.
And they
And of
look
course,
up.
this is the moment that the emergency brake on the elevator starts to fail and starts sliding down the cable.
Yeah.
Sparks shooting down.
And then they like start panicking and start trying to get down faster, and then they swing in almost a maneuver-esque move. Swing into the floor.
Buck yells at Eddie to kick the door open, and I'm going, Buck, that's not how elevator doors work. And then the other bit was Eddie pushes Batani in, but because he's strapped to the ironing board, it's like a cat flap opening. So he pushes him by his feet, so the entire board just sort of lifts up until he's almost horizontal at the top of the elevator door. I don't know how Eddie got him down.
The first time I watched this scene, I thought that they'd lost him under the that the elevator had just come down and smacked him down. But no, apparently they did rescue Batani. We just don't get to see.
We never see him again.
We never get to see the ending of that. And I was like, did he die? Like, what just happened? But no, I think he was.
But you're right. Eddie yells at Buck to move his ass, and it is very maneuver-esque. The way he just pushes off the wall, drops down level to the floor of the door that's open, and swings into the corridor. But then we get the extra action of, as he's swinging in, he clips his carabiner open so that the rope that's holding him and Ali, the rope that he and Ali were connected to, is released. So that when the elevator comes shooting down the shaft, it takes the rope, but it doesn't take Buck and Ali with it. And then we just hear an almighty crash.
It's very capable. Yes.
And that's why Chim doesn't do the maneuver. That's why Buck does the maneuver.
That's right.
And Buck's just at the end, like they're all safe, looks over and goes, "Told you I liked our chances."
Oh, such a cocky shit.
Like, yeah, no big deal.
All right, so so we've had another aftershock. Everyone's got to sort of check in and make sure they're all okay.
Hen's fine. Hen's like underneath, and we cut to her still following Paisley, so clearly the aftershock didn't hit the basement this time.
Yeah, the cars are okay.
And
It was just the top of the building.
Yeah, it's just
shook
the top
around.
of the building. And anyway, so yeah, Hen finds Cat huddled between two cars, and Hen is so relieved.
Yeah.
Like checks over Cat, like asks if she's hurt, and Cat just goes, "No, but I fell." And Hen's like, "I fell too."
It's okay. And then in a very Cinderella-esque moment, she reunites Cat with her missing shoe.
Yeah, because
Which she's apparently...
I
She shoved
lost
it in
my
the pocket of her
shoe.
turnout the entire time.
Right?
But while Hen is okay, Bobby and Chim don't know this. All they know is when they recover from the latest aftershock, all of their hard work has been undone. And, and they have to start all over again trying to dig Hen out. But then Yusar guy shows up with his handy dandy GPS tablet.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Which apparently shows that Hen has gone up a couple of floors and is now on the other side of them. And she's on the move, because apparently it's that accurate. Can track
Yeah.
that she's moving.
She's gone up a couple of floors?
Because they said that she was like 3 feet below them initially, and now she's right on the other side of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're like right next to it. She's right next to her now.
I don't just understand it. But then
Anyway,
they have to
yeah.
go down to the parking garage. So I honestly don't think these
not
people
try
know
and-
what the hell they're talking about.
let's not try to...
Look, the building's also like on a lane, so let's just yeah.
Yeah, but I thought we established that the garage was fine.
The garage was fine, so it was the restaurant. But
garage-
it's fine.
I don't know.
It's fine.
The garage
Yeah, don't
is
worry.
fine because they go down to the garage and they're able to walk upright
Yeah.
and there's nothing fallen down and,
And the
there's
cars
no
are fine.
debris.
Which is
on that
funny
every-
because the parking garage was apparently the reason that the building fell down to begin with.
Yeah, well, only
Yeah,
on
but
one
it looks
side.
like it's not
Only on one
only
side.
on one side because they turn around a corner and I suddenly understood why they kept calling it pancaking because it's literally like car, concrete, concrete with these beautiful layers.
Oh, true. Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bobby says that he radios in and says that they're on the move and he needs jackhammers, diamond saws, jaws, every heavy-duty piece of equipment they have and every available pair of hands, and they're going down to the southern corner of the garage, level B3.
And the incident commander's just like, nope.
Yep, we're evacuating. And Bobby goes, no, Hen's still down there.
The incident commanders are like, I don't give a damn. It's a direct order. Get out.
Yeah.
So Bobby completely changes his tune and goes, yep, evacuate, everyone out, double time, let's go. And Chim's like, Cap, we can't leave Hen behind. And Bobby's like, oh, I know, I'm not leaving her. I just can't ask anyone else to defy a direct order. And just takes off running.
And Chim's like, okay, cool.
Okay, we're doing this. Let's go.
Yep.
Yep. But it looks, the optics are not good because we get an overhead shot of all of the firefighters and the USAR guys just fleeing the hotel, and Kat's dad is absolutely furious. He's like, why is everybody leaving the hotel? You have not found my daughter yet. And basically does a fuck it, I'm going to do it myself, and tries to like go against the tide of the first responders to go back into the hotel. The incident commander is just so done with him. She just like clicks her fingers and 2 LAPD guys zoom onto him and start hauling him, kicking and screaming away from the hotel.
Yeah, it's like an immediate, it's like a hand wave and he gets arrested. Like, but we go back to Bobby and Chim and they're just strolling through. I think are they in the parking garage at this point?
Yeah, they're down the parking garage. They've found the pancake of the pancake wall. They realize exactly how insurmountable the odds are that they're going to be able to get through.
I just love the conversation that they have. Like, Chim's like, so have you given much thought to what you'll do after we're fired?
Which is a real callback to the conversation they had, and it took me a moment to realize that was the beginning of episode 2.
Yeah, right. Literally last episode.
Oh, that feels like a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It's like, so what would you do if you weren't a firefighter?
Yeah.
So like that is possibly a very real option at this point, that they are no longer going to be firefighters. So
I don't know if Chim's got a lot of chance of being a Top Gun though. Sadly.
not having gone through brain surgery, I'm pretty sure his medical records would disqualify him at this point.
Yes. But yeah, Bobby's defense is perfect because he goes, "Well, we were ordered to leave the building. We're just leaving a different way." And Chim's like, by taking a detour to the bottom of the parking garage. And Bobby's like, "Yep,
Cool, it's a choice.
it's a choice."
So they start searching the parking garage for anything that they can find that will help them get through the wall. They find the valet stand and take all the keys, start searching the cars, pulling out toolboxes, jacks, anything that they can find.
It's like a
And
bunch
then
of
they luck
alarms
out.
going off. And I'm like, do you know how loud car alarms are inside a parking
It'd be echoing
garage? Like,
so badly.
they would be awful. Anyway, they find a car that, well, they try,
luck out,
they unlock quite a few cars and find some tools and different,
Well, they
and
find
rope.
so they find is it the valet?
Yeah.
It's all the keys to all the cars.
Yep.
On that level, yeah. And they luck out because they find a truck with a Utah license plate. And the plate says "Greatest Snow on Earth," which apparently is the official motto for Utah's license plates.
Okay.
And there's are you thinking what I'm thinking, B1 moment going on where they realize that the truck must have snow chains.
Yep.
So they use the snow chains to try and tow the bottommost car out of the pancake. It's kind of like Jenga at this point. They're trying to pull that block out without collapsing the whole structure.
Yeah, it's funny because they've been so careful, like trying in the previous sort of rescue sequences where they've been trying not to move anything too much in case they collapse everything. Now they've actually just got a truck and they're yanking this thing out with the chain.
Yep.
And like, it's not like the entire hotel's on top of it. It's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
And it kind of works. They get the car about 3/4 of the way out before the chains snap.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no more chains. There's obviously not enough chain that is left that they can repeat the process. But Bobby, with this like little arm swinging motion, says, "No, we can get in there. We can push the car out the rest of the way." And then off camera, we hear a voice going, "Looks like we got here just in time then." And we turn around surprised to see Buck and Eddie strolling into the garage. So I don't know exactly how much time has passed, how they managed to get
how did they get
down
the
off the
others
tower.
out?
Yeah, like,
Where are their patience?
No, they just handed them over and then leapt back into the jaws of death.
literally.
Apparently. Bobby looks surprised to see Buck and says, "You guys know you are disobeying a direct order." And I'm looking at Bobby going, "It's Buck."
Yeah, he doesn't know what a direct order is.
You can give him a direct order and they go in one ear and out the other. Are you really surprised that he is down here right now? Eddie, yes. Eddie, I am surprised because he's military.
I
and
love that
obeying
Eddie
orders.
was military for years and then meets Buck and he's just like, fuck this shit, gonna do it. Like, already corrupted by Buck.
The very touch of Buck corrupts.
The moment Buck laid hands on you, he was lost.
The accuracy.
Anyway.
And it's not just Eddie that Buck is corrupted, because the incident commander and pretty much every other first responder walks into the garage to help.
Yeah, and apparently his people are very persuasive.
Basically means that Buck was at her and would not shut up until she agreed just to get him off her back.
Yeah, let me go find Bobby. Oh my fucking god, fine, we'll go find fucking Bobby. Jesus fucking Christ, just shut the fuck up. But the incident commander says they have one shot, and if it fails, no one's coming to rescue them.
No help is coming.
Help is not coming.
Help is not coming.
Help is not coming.
Thank you. Yes.
So then they have proper towing cables, because clearly they knew that they needed that without, they hold concrete out by hand, like they managed to get an opening. And once again, Paisley the dog comes running out, because apparently her hobbies include barking at gluten and running out of small triangular openings.
Yes.
And then as the dog appears, there's just silence. Then you hear Buck going, Hen, are you there? And there is a good 5 seconds when nothing happens. There's no music. It's just silence.
Hen just wanted to have a dramatic entrance. Like,
Yeah, she wanted her moment, okay? Buck's had enough.
yeah.
But yes, then there's a dramatic swell of music, and Hen comes out of the opening with Cat strapped to her back, or clinging to her back. And everybody is so relieved.
Yeah, even though they're still deep in the car park, and they need to get the hell out of there before the whole building comes down.
Yep.
And they do.
Which they do seem to. They seem to, like, get Hen and, like, okay, we're out of here.
Yeah, they hustle.
Yeah.
So then we get this nice wrap-up start. So we go back to dispatch for a bit. Maddie's at a station. And we see Josh and the liaison enter the room. Josh points at Maddie, and Maddie's immediately expecting bad news. Like, you can see it all over her face. But the liaison tells her that Hollywood Palm has been fully evacuated and all members of the 118 are safe and accounted for.
Phew.
So, much happier, she goes back and takes another call, and
It's another nonsense call, but it's kind of a cute nonsense call. The caller says that there is a weird light in the sky, like a glowing cloud, and like she knows that there was just an earthquake, but did something else happen? And apparently this was a real call that people were making after the 94 Northridge earthquake.
Oh, you're kidding. Really?
No, this was inspired by real calls, and what has happened is that all the power has gone out, and so suddenly people can see the stars and the Milky Way.
Yes.
Because the light pollution in LA is usually so bad that you can't see anything. And so people are seeing like stars for the first time, but they're freaking out because they've never seen them before.
Oh.
Yeah, because the Milky Way, it's not just stars either. Like, it's a full, like...
It
It
looks
is a
like
glowing cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And I went back and, like, before we go inside the dispatch center, it actually pans over, like, very dark LA. And
Yes.
you can see the Milky Way, like, across it just before this call.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
I'll have
so
to
that
go
was
back and
really
have another
cool.
look. But yeah, I guess the first time, like, I live in a city, and the first time you go out into the country and see the, like, we can in Brisbane we can see the stars. Okay, it's not so bad that it's, but the first time you see the full Milky Way is absolutely incredible. But
It's something that I took for granted growing up rural.
Yeah.
Because I used to literally, like, just go outside and lie down and just watch. And, like, I could see all the stars. I'd, like, lie there and watch for shooting stars all the time. And it was just something that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And now living in the suburbs, I can still see the stars, but it's nowhere near the extent.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
can also see the city from my front door, so.
I don't feel like I want to call 911 over it, though. Like, it's a weird thing to want to call in. But anyway, if someone really did it...
We've established that people call 911 for the stupidest of shit, though.
Yeah.
But the caller is very embarrassed when she realizes, when Maddie tells her that she's seeing the Milky Way.
Yeah, it's just stars.
And she apologizes for taking up Maddie's time because she's sure that she's very busy. And she thanks Maddie. And by virtue of the call, everybody that has been working with the earthquake. Which is like just a nice little moment, because I don't think working 911, working as a first responder, I don't think you get thanked that often.
No.
And I think,
Right?
so this is just a nice little moment to get a tiny moment of gratitude, a tiny moment of appreciation for all of the shit that Maddie went through the last, 12 hours?
Yeah. So we get Heroes by Bowie.
And here's where the second set of tears
I was going to say, which is where Bex starts crying again.
This is where Beck starts crying again, because this song is like, you could put this song over the most mundane images and I'm still going to start crying.
It's like a janitor mopping the floor and Bex is just sobbing.
But these guys really are heroes. So we get a montage of the firefighters and USRs leaving the hotel, but under better circumstances this time, because they've rescued the 118. And they've found Kat.
So Hen brings Kat and Paisley over to Kat's parents, and her father very dramatically falls to his knees in slow motion. He's been taking lessons from Eddie. Bobby
It looks like it hurt too.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't graceful.
Bobby and the incident commander shake hands. Buck checks in with Ali and he just looks absolutely exhausted, and she sort of gives him a bit of reassurance.
He's been holding the whole building up with his own hands for this whole time.
Yeah.
Or something.
Jim checks out Hen, and it's the cutest interaction, because he's like making her follow the torch with her eyes and like all of this, and she's just like eye rolling while doing it. But he gives her the thumbs up. And then Kat's family, like the mother, looks over and mouths thank you to Hen.
We see Coach, who's in a prayer circle with all of his sports ball bros. They're obviously praying for Pickens. And then we have an honor guard of firefighters carrying Russ's body out. And as they pass Hen, she stands up and salutes, and I start crying harder.
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, they didn't all make it out. Not everyone's got a happy ending.
No.
But Buck and Eddie go to the truck to get ready to get out of there, and then Buck's phone starts buzzing, and he tells everyone, hey, we've got some service. So Eddie's like, oh my God. Grabs his phone to find out what's going on. But Buck checks in, then, texts Text Maddie. Now I'm doing it. To check in that she's okay, and Maddie says she made it, so yeah.
Yeah, and Buck says he's proud of her.
Yeah.
We then cut to the hospital and we see Ainsley and Drew, and Ainsley is awake and she's handing a baby over to Drew to hold, so they're all good as well.
Mm-hmm.
At the Grant household, Athena comes running in and scoops the kids up in a giant tight hug. I'm pretty sure they can't breathe. I don't think they care. Michael comes out from the kitchen to see what the fuss is about and sees Athena, and she just reaches out a hand to him and pulls him into the hug as well. We get to see Jeff with his giant cast getting signed by all of his sports ball teammates. Yeah. Hen arrives back home to be hugged by Karen and Danny, and then Karen jumps backwards and puts her hands over her mouth because Hen has smuggled Paisley home.
Oh.
The first time I watched, because I didn't know whose feet it was at the start of the last episode, I thought that Hen stole the dog. I'm like, Hen, you can't just take a dog.
Well, apparently you can when your owner has been squished like the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
And then we get Buck driving Eddie to Christopher's school. They pull up in front of the school, and Eddie launches out of the car and just sprints towards the doors. And we can see Christopher standing in the doorway waiting for him. But interestingly, they keep cutting back to Buck. And, like, he's watching misty-eyed as Eddie runs through the door and grabs Christopher in another bone-crushing hug.
So I have questions.
So why...
Why did Buck drive them?
Well, I don't know how Eddie got to the station.
He would have driven that morning.
But did he?
Well, he dropped...
I don't know.
He dropped,
But he was walking Christopher to school. So how did he and Chris get to school?
Yeah.
But, like, let's keep the logistics out of it. Why, when they've got this beautiful father-son reunion moment, do they keep cutting back to Buck?
Because Buck's his stepfather. He just doesn't know it yet.
I know that, like, Buck is frantically trying to baby trap himself in this situation, but...
Yeah, but why is he there? Why is he involved? It makes no sense at all.
No, it doesn't
Like,
make a lot of
The
sense.
writers are just like, Eddie's BFF drops him at the school. Ugh, so normal.
This is episode 3. This is episode 3. Why are they already making it Buck and Eddie as, like, Buck and Eddie one word?
Yeah, like...
Why?
Yeah. Like,
I mean, I know why, and you know why, and everybody else that's listening knows why, but why are the writers doing it?
Yeah, like, already.
And do they know they're doing it?
It's a good question.
Like, the choices are certainly
It's
choicing.
not just the Oliver Stark acting choices, it's also the writing choices.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Oliver, you can be in this scene. Let's have you drive them, and we're gonna do some coverage of you too while we're like, why are we doing coverage of you? I don't know. I mean, you're here. We may as well.
Hang on, I just need to check something.
Okay.
What are you checking?
So once again, Eddie is in slow motion hugging Chris,
Yeah.
and it cuts back to Buck, who's perfectly normal time, smiling and nodding.
Yeah.
So I think it's just Eddie is just in slow motion all the
He
time.
has special time-bending powers. Or maybe it's just Buck who's making everything slow down so that he gets
Buck's
excited.
really fast, guys.
Yeah.
Eddie has some kind of disability where he can only move in slow motion, but Buck manages to anchor him in normal time.
Oh, please write that fic. That's cool. That is very cool.
But yeah, I was like, hang on a second. So I had to go check. And yeah, sure enough, Eddie's running through the hallway in slow motion. Chris is hugging him in slow motion. The
They do
rest
the
of the
twirling.
scenes, like even the Hen and Karen scene beforehand, slow motion.
Slow motion.
Yeah.
But Buck, perfectly normal.
Either
ridiculous.
that or Buck's ADHD is so raging that normally he is at like triple speed, but when
Yeah,
they go
and
slow
when they
motion,
slow
it's
motion.
just normal speed.
Yeah. All right. Yes.
We got
no.
to pull together. We got one more scene.
Wait a minute. I've got one more thing I wanted to say about this scene. This is a completely logistical thing. I'm just wondering how many kids were left at school after Chris gets picked up. Because did the teachers just hang at the school with the kids whose parents couldn't get to them? Or why?
Yeah, they would have, I'd
assuming,
say.
like,
Yeah.
They'd have to.
Like, I don't know how this works when you have an emergency like that, but my God, I hope Chris wasn't the only one left who's just waiting for his dad to go.
I know how sad.
Oh. Anyway, to bring the tone down a little bit there, sorry.
No, it's a good question.
And the poor teacher's been waiting there in slow motion all day as well.
Oh, yeah, had to wait for Buck to come to release him. So we go to Athena at home still. She's had a shower. She's feeling much better, I think. Michael is cooking dinner and Athena says it smells good. And Athena's phone rings. Hooray for the phones being back. And she sees it's Bobby, but she goes outside to take the call. And Bobby says, I need to see you, like a creeper.
Which it gets worse.
She says that she's got to feed the kids and the roads are a mess. And he says, no, I need to see you now. Come out the front. And then he just hangs up and Athena's like, okay.
At this point, I think I would have been going for my sidearm. Like,
What the hell are you
hell?
talking about, man? But she does go out the front and Bobby's there and they have a big hug and Bobby's, before they do, Bobby kind of waves at her like with
He
one
does that
hand.
really awkward jack wave like he did from the selfies he was taking for romancing the uniform. It's so
just like,
awkward.
hi. Oh god. Anyway, they say they were worried about each other and, you know, it was nice having someone important to worry about. And they're all cute.
And then Michael ruins the mood by walking up and going, "Excuse me, what is all this silliness?"
It's so weird.
I mean, I guess having watched What Comes Next, I think that he's going out there with the intention of like, Athena, why are you making this man stay outside and talking to him, invite him in? But Rockman's delivery is he sounds like he's about 3 seconds away from punching Bobby.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He sounds
Like,
cross.
And Peter definitely reacts like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm about to get punched.
Mm-hmm. But no, he just wants him to come inside and eat dinner with them. And Athena's like, oh, I don't know about this. And he's like, come on, let's go. I've already put the places out. So off they go.
So Michael and the kids now know.
It's interesting because I don't know what episode it was. Number 1, number 2, no idea. Athena and Michael had the conversation where Athena let slip that she was dating someone, and he was putting pressure on her to sort of go public. And
I think it was episode 1 because
they
they don't see her all of episode 2. So
maybe episode 1, yeah.
yeah.
So Michael, knowing his ex-wife, knows that given the chance, she is going to drag her heels on introducing Bobby to the kids. So he's just decided that he's going to force her hand.
Well,
He's
to be fair,
"No."
like he wanted to introduce his boyfriend for a long time, so he's like, you know what, you can introduce your boyfriend.
Yep,
Up yours.
it's fine. And Bobby is just looking at Athena like, I don't want to put any pressure on you. What am I going to do? And Athena's just like, yeah, okay, Michael's right. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and do this. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah. They're so cute.
They are.
And it's a happy
And
ending.
they all live happily ever after.
We're finally at the end of this 3-episode arc.
Finally.
And there is a resolution. There are multiple resolutions at the end of this episode. There are no cliffhangers or window hangers or unresolved storylines. It's all been wrapped up neatly.
Yeah.
And Hen has a dog.
And now Hen has a dog, which I forgot that Paisley existed.
Yeah, I don't think we see her again.
Oh.
I don't think we do.
She's mentioned at least once.
I
But
don't know.
yeah.
Maybe she runs away through another triangular-shaped hole.
When they make the doggy door, she's like, I don't understand. And then they make it
It's
into
a
a triangle.
square.
And she's like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
There's too much gluten in the Wilson household.
Why does she keep barking? Oh, we're making toast again. Shit.
Oh, gosh. So, we may have a happy ending, but I have a feeling there's more pain around the corner.
Actually, next week's kind of cute. Next week is another one of those themed episodes where every single storyline is going to revolve around... specifically, this episode is called Stuck, so it's going to revolve around everyone being stuck in some way, whether that's physically, emotionally, psychologically stuck.
Right.
And it does have a lot of a lighter tone than the last 3 episodes. So
Do you want to read the summary?
it pretty much just says everyone's stuck. To get into more detail, the first responders race to rescue victims trapped in various tight spots. Meanwhile, Athena contemplates accepting a promotion that will take her out of the field, and Maddie decides to make a move of her own. Buck wonders if he should move on, and Chimney finally deals with the aftermath of his near-fatal car crash. Also, Eddie turns to the crew for help with his son.
Oh, okay.
So we get a lot more Christopher next episode, and it's very cute.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We love Christopher.
We do love Christopher. Triggers for the next episode. Provisional triggers, because we may have to update them after I've watched the episode and refreshed my memory. We have some broken bones. We have a man stuck in an escalator, which is pretty gnarly. And we have a femoral artery bleed. Cannot remember off the top of my head if that is related to the guy in the escalator, but it may be another call altogether.
We'll find out.
Tune in next week to find out.
Yeah. Right. So let us know what you thought of this episode. We might, if we've got something wrong, we've done a lot of shitting on this episode in different aspects of it, but feel free to join in or let us know how wrong we are.
Yeah, let us know how GPS works in underground.
No, we already know that doesn't work very well. Believe me. You can find all of our episodes and the transcripts at thatwewishow.com, along with other ways that you can get in touch with us there. Or you can send us an email, contact@thatwewishow.com. And thank you for listening to this episode, and we will see you next week, but I just don't know the name of the episode.
It's literally Stuck.
It's
Okay.
Stuck.
I was not kidding.
Stick with us for
We will talk to you next week when we'll be discussing the episode. You can come and get stuck with us. No, that's terrible. We'll be talking about episode titled Stuck. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
911 is a fictional show, but many of the situations portrayed happen in the real world too. If any of the topics we've discussed in this episode have affected you, please know you're not alone. You can call or text numbers in your country for help. Just Google crisis support in your location to find out the number. If you enjoy our podcast, you can help us out by leaving us a review on Spotify or your preferred listening app, and by sharing our social media posts. Find out more at thatwewishow.com. Okay, note to self, don't try and make up puns on the fly.